You're welcome back. Now, it would appear that strike season is upon us as turbulence begins to manifest in the labor front. Yesterday, the Ghana Medical Association issued a roadmap towards implementation of a full-blown strike over delays in the implementation of their conditions of service agreement. That's not all. The judicial service staff are also threatening to withdraw services, also over delayed salary review. Now, we're going to hear from them shortly, but today, government has been given another ultimatum by the Forum for Public Sector Registered Pension Schemes, also issuing a one-week ultimatum to government to compel SNIT to comply with the NPRA directives to publish individual credits before full implementation of Tier 2 on 1st January 2020. Listen to the chairman of the forum, Isaac Bampoado, speaking at a news conference in Accra just this afternoon.
With the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, and Forum on the above subject, it was agreed that by 29th October 2019, SNIT will come out with the modalities for the calculation and the issuance of statements for each contributor on past credits and as at 31st December 2009 based on 100% Treasury bill rate, compounded quarterly. The Forum is reliably informed that SNIT is not going to comply with the directives from NPRA on past credits. As you are aware, January 1st, 2020 is the implementation date for Tier 2 pensions, which is just around the corner. And we would not want our members who will be retiring from that date to be paid past credits that do not reflect the basis for its payments as outlined by the NPRA in its letter dated 18 September 2019, copy attached. The Forum sees this stance of SNIT as a tactical move to sabotage the smooth implementation of the three-tier pension scheme, which is scheduled to be fully operational with effect from 1st January 2020. It is worth noting that SNIT was highly instrumental in getting the original implementation date of 1st January 2015 pushed to 1st January 2020, which resulted in the enactment of the National Pensions Amendment Act at 883. We call on the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, as the Minister of Pensions, as a matter of urgency, to ensure that this matter is resolved amicably by 18th November 2019 to forestall any industrial unrest.
Right then, let's go on the line and speak to Perpetual Ufuriampofo. Now, she is the representative of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association on the forum. Perpetual, thank you for speaking to us. So talk us through it.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed. Talk us through it. How did we get to this point?
The pension reform came into force, and initially it was supposed to take effect from January 2015, but a new law was enacted to push it 5 years on to January 2020. So the Act 888 came into force. But of course, the actual law, that is 766, ensured that we had a three-tier pension scheme. Now, as part of the money that were supposed to be as part of the PPSA, the past credit, which is actually your contributions from the time you entered into the service, whether it's education service, whether it's health service, up to December 2009, was left with SNIT to manage and start paying it once people retire from January 2020. However, we have tried to initially get a better understanding of the computation of the past credits, which involves the regulator and Senate, and as well as other stakeholders such as the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, to come to that understanding of how the tax credit should be calculated. This has been done, and in a recent communication to Senate by the regulator, which is dated 18 September 2019, the regulator, which is National Pensions Regulatory Authority, outlined clearly how the tax credit should be calculated. Now, what we are hearing is that the understanding we are getting is that Senate is not prepared to pay the tax credit per that computation. And what we are saying now is that we've had this back and forth with Senate for far too long. We are talking about pensions, and pensions are important matters for all workers, and we cannot play with it. If the regulator has given you direct instructions on how to calculate the pension or the tax credit, you don't come back to say that if you are going to do it this way, then Senate is going to collapse. That's the same excuse we had in the past. And therefore, instead of bringing the money into the various schemes, we agreed and said, okay, keep it, let's keep it, and manage it, invest it, have returns on it. And then when our members are going on retirement from January 2020, we can pay them. And obviously, it is not everybody who is going to retire in January 2020. We are just going to have different cohorts of people who will be retiring from January 2020. And therefore, you are not going to pay all the money as a whole. So we don't understand why Senate is still giving those excuses. At a point, they said they had to inform their board, and their board passed on it. They realized they are not going to be able to pay. They are going to inform the regulator, and so on. We have engaged the Minister of Employment. We have engaged the regulator. We have engaged Smith on several occasions. And we are seeing that. We are seeing some commitment on the part of the regulator, some commitment on the part of the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, which is in charge of pensions. But Smith is being adamant to the whole situation. And that is what we have a problem with. We are supposed to calculate the tax credit as 100% of the prevailing 91-day government of Ghana Treasury bill rate. And that is what they are not willing to do. They want to do it at 50%. And they are saying that will be against what the regulator has instructed you to do. And more so, when you look at the law, if I'm not mistaken, I think Section 93 of Act 760 takes care of all these things. And it is there, 100% of Treasury bill rate. So why would Smith want to do something different? We are somehow getting to understand that there's this sentiment out there, or perception out there, that somehow, somewhat, the Tier 2 wants it to be painted black, as if the contributions or the lump sum to be paid from Tier 2 as compared to what Smith was paying in the past would be less. And that will be like throwing gas in the eyes of workers and more so all Ghanaians, because that is not the truth. The truth of the matter is that if we allow the two pensions to thrive, if we are all going to be committed to doing the right thing, the two is far better than Smith in terms of lump sum payments. And we are saying that from January 2020, our members are going to go on retirement. Smith has to calculate the tax credit per the directives of the regulator. And in that sense, when the workers take that lump sum, which is the tax credit from Smith, and come to add it to what they are going to receive from Tier 2, then of course they will have an appreciable retirement benefit.
Right.
And therefore we cannot sit down to allow Smith to calculate the tax credit at a rate that will not be conducive for workers of Ghana.
Understood.
It cannot be shortchanged in that way.
So let's get an understanding of what you're threatening. If they don't comply by the time frame you've given them, what exactly happens next?
There are a number of actions that we can take. But for now, we are saying that we are appealing. It's actually an appeal. We are petitioning the Minister of Employment and Labor Relations and that is the minister that is in charge of pensions, that as a matter of agency, they should ensure that we have an amicable resolution to this matter by 18th of November 2019, because we are foreseeing that there can be an industrial unrest. We all don't want it, but we will have no option. And that is why we are calling on the minister to use all his network, to use all his lobbying skills to ensure that we get Smith to do what is right. It's as simple as that.
Very well. Perpetual, thank you very much for your time with us. Perpetual Ufuri Ampofo represents the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association on the Forum for Public Sector forgive me, on the Forum for Public Sector Pensions. Now, on JoyNews today, the Judicial Service staff also signaled the intention to strike over conditions of service. President of JUSAG, Alex Nartey, said this.
The Labour Commission is a statutory body whose operations are regulated, and we expect that anything that they do, as far as these issues are concerned, will be within the law. And as law-abiding people, we work with the law. Yes. We do not expect any miscarriage of justice at our meeting today.
Okay. But do you feel that authorities are hiding behind the Labour Commission to compel you, as it were, to just, you know, kind of keep on working and do not complain too much, maybe? As
a Labour practitioner myself, I wouldn't want to suspect anybody of anything before I establish it. And so I'm not going to say so. If they do, the processes are clear. They are not rocket science. Everybody appreciates it. We will detect it from the outcome and we will proceed. You see, the situation, we have some people, key management members of the Judicial Service, who think that the Judicial Service workers only have obligations and responsibilities to work and meet standards, but they don't have rights to exercise. And that is our biggest problem. We are saying that just as we have rights and responsibilities to work and satisfy every conditions, you know, that underpin our engagement, so also we know the 1992 Constitution that we all cite with pride applies to the Judicial Service staff as well. And so if you think, if there is anybody within management who thinks that Judicial Service staff do not have rights to exercise, we want them to be clear today.
So why is the Labour front beginning to shake at this time? Labour expert Senyo Ajabin joins us on the line to explore this. Senyo, thank you very much for your time. So what is it? What is it about this particular time of year that's bringing out all of the demands that Labour has been waiting for responses on so far?
Well, thank you for having me. I believe that the peculiar time within which we are, where government is about to read the budget for next year, as well as next year being an election year, I think that most of the union would be thinking that they are running out of time, and so they would have to seek a finalization of their outstanding issues before we get into next year or before the budget is ready. Because I know that there have been times where workers have agitated and they've been told that, oh, unfortunately, we did not plan and put things in the budget, so please give us some time, and the next budget year that would make provisions for that. It is a combination of these things that are causing a lot of agitations and also the notices of strikes that we are finding.
Right. Now, Does there appear to have been some shifting of goalposts on the part of government? I mean, there were some specific promises made in terms of conditions of service, which appear to be seeking to negotiate downwards, even though they agreed to certain figures or certain percentages. We also see that with the pensions, there is a certain attempt to recalculate some of the benefits to be at a 50%. At 50% of the Treasury bill rate instead of 100%. We're seeing some attempts to adjust timelines of delivery and so forth. Would these constitute bad faith on the part of government, or is there a real issue here that both parties need to come to the table and resolve?
Well, great. So I think that it is government functionaries who can best respond to these things. But I know that these are long-drawn consultations that are going on. The parties have been on the table discussing these issues for quite some time now. But normally when in labor relations, when discussions go to the point where no party seems to be moving anymore and there's a deadlock, then the next logical step is for a resolution of the matter, and so on the side of the workers and the unions, they would normally want to assess their rights under the strike or industrial strike or industrial provisions of the law, and then also the employer, in this case, which is government, they want to look at the other dispute resolution available to here. But I think that we've gotten to a point where it's becoming difficult to get a full resolution or a conclusive resolution to these matters, and that is why we are moving to the most logical step, which is the dispute arena.
Right. So at this point, if some of these groups which are prevented from taking strike action by law, if they feel pushed to the wall, what options are available to them?
Well, you see, the classes of workers that we call essential workers or essential workers here, who are not entitled to go on strike, have unique provisions in the law to take care of their disputes when such disputes occur. And this is by compulsory arbitration. So where they deadlock and they notify the National Labour Commission, within 3 days, the National Labour Commission is supposed to constitute itself into an arbitration panel, representative of all the stakeholders of labor on the National Labour Commission, and then undertake a very rapid and quick compulsory arbitration process and come out with a binding award that then seeks to resolve the matter, which is also as good as the judgment of the court. So that is available. But unfortunately, that even the essential classes of workers are backward and unlawfully under problem. Unfortunately, it's difficult to take excessive action against a group of people who may be seeking justifiable grounds on which they are taking the action, except that they are using the wrong mechanisms and the wrong tools. So I think in all of this, there's more consultation and more dialogue to be held, right. And then also a lot of proactivity from the National Labour Commission, so that especially in the arena of healthcare, we do not lose life to some of these actions.
Right. Senor Ajabin, thank you very much for your time with us. That's our labor expert this afternoon, Senor Ajabin.